and hello everyone.
Welcome back to Sulam Sit With Us.
My name is Fatih Yusrina.
And my name is Narshafina.
So today is our final episode and we are excited to make it special. So today we are discussing youth leadership and policy, and to help us explore this episode, we have a very special guest with us.
We are joined by our special guest who is Miss Siti Nur Shahira, who has inspired many young people through her work in youth leadership and volunteerism. Okay, Miss Noem, before we go through with the session, can you share with us a little bit of your journey in this field?
Hi guys, morning.
Morning.
I hope you guys have your breakfast. Yeah. I am very honored to be here today. Thank you for inviting me to such a very cozy little space here. I bet you guys know about a little tiny bit about me. My name is Ain, and what I do now is I'm a social media person or creative strategy, so producer, you can say. I do content on daily basis. I do ads. I do a lot of marketing stuff, not just about brands, but storytelling, and stuff like that, mixing strategies and everything. But back then, I was an officer for Parliament of Moa, which I do a lot of. In one hand, I do a lot of storytelling, communications, strategies, campaigns, and on the other hand, I work very closely with a youth group in order to make sure that youth sentiment is not just like staying on the sentiment side, but also lead to like an impact to our youth and to our current generations.
Understand. So, could you tell us more about your role as a special officer? Is there anything you want to add?
I think a lot of people don't know about this, but as an officer, you tend to do a lot of work for your constituents. By mean a lot of work, I do a lot of parliament speeches, I do a lot of policy making job, especially in parliament. I do a lot of helping people on ground, like if there's any banjir happening or there's anything that's happening, like you name it, like we do that all the time. It's not just, limited to parliamentary work. It's also going on ground, seeing what people need, seeing what these people like basically need in their daily life, basically helping people. And I feel like that kind of experience really shaped me to who I am today, to always, lead with empathy, lead with kindness, lead with awareness, and how education is very important in terms of speaking to people, in terms of helping people. And I feel like, I think that's quite nice.
That's really nice.
Thank you.
And how did you think your role help you connect with young people's voices to policy decisions?
I think the biggest challenge here is youth issues are often portrayed as something that is very soft or something that is very personal. Why am I talking soft and personal? Take a example like bullying or mental health, right? People tend to think like, oh, it's okay lah, dulu masa kita kecil pun kita kena bully, masa kita kat sekolah pun kita kena bully. Mental health, like, it's just a phase, things like that. They're often being disregarded, and that is very dangerous, because these kind of issues impact people's life, whether it's emotional, whether it's like physical, whether it's social well-being. And I feel like these kind of issues shouldn't be just like, like being side-eye, but that's what our government is doing. Why I say that is because, having an initiative is important, but having students to chant just like kami benci bully every day, every morning in school, it's not going to work. I'm not saying that it's not a good initiative, but we need more than that. As for example, we see like kami benci rokok everywhere. You see that poster everywhere. You see it like it's like being, pushed into your eyes, like you're forced to see it. But Are these students gonna stop smoking?
No.
No, right? Same like chanting kami benci bully every day. It's not gonna stop people from bullying. What will stop them is more parents' involvement,
Yeah.
more, I don't know, like do some very friendly camp.
Yeah.
Need government interventions. That's what gonna help them to maybe lessen the bullying. We cannot stop bullying because it's there. It's like it's deeply rooted in our culture, and that's not nice actually. But we need more intervention and not just like being portrayed as something soft or personal. It's not important. Chill lah. We can just let them, chant kami benci bully every day, but it's not gonna work. Youth involvement is important. This thing happened because there's no youth involvement. Like youth are not being included in that conversations. When people decided to do certain policies, they should have included people that that made that issues, right? But this is not happening. We're not seeing this. And I feel like that's the biggest issues, and I think barrier that we need to, go through. Yeah. That's what I feel.
Yeah, I think my personal opinion, I feel like there are a lot of things that our government should improve on in terms of our um, education from
Correct.
early age. So, and then how do you overcome barriers like slow processes or stigma in Malaysia?
Sorry, what?
How do you overcome slow processes or stigma?
Stigma, slow processes,
Or like bureaucracy?
or bureaucracy.
Yeah.
I think I don't want to speak my opinions too much. I can give example.
Okay.
We can see from, I'm pretty sure you guys know about Undi 18 movement. Undi 18.
Oh yeah, I know.
So
that.
back in 2018, this group of youth people, like very, very inspiring people, decided to like, you know what? Let's push this policy to the government. Let's push Undi 18 to the government. Let's make these 18 years old people be able to vote.
Yeah.
And that's what made us now 18 years old people can finally vote, can finally choose their government, can finally push their policies. And I feel like that's incredible because I feel like in terms of bureaucracies, right? If you're not giving them the space, if you're not giving them the trust to lead, trust to make decision, and that's very, very dangerous, because of what? Because of involvement, because youth participation is as important as adults, as this orang besar. That's why people like students in schools are so afraid of this politic because they thought it's meant for orang besar. But it's not actually. It's more about inclusivity, it's more about togetherness, and I feel from Undi 18 movement, now we can see Malaysians are now being able to accept youth voices, to accept like thoughts and opinions from the young, even though they're not very much experienced. Because I feel like opinions and strategies and everything else matters rather than experience. I'm not saying that it's not important to have experience, but experience can come along the way, along that you learn. Okay, you make mistakes, you make decisions, you make mistakes, and there come experience, right? That's why we need to trust ourselves more, give ourselves more credit, even though we think that, macam, it's not nice, we're still young, can we even decide this? You can. I think age is a scam. No lah, I'm kidding. But if you think about it, we're just human beings at the end of the day, and our voices matters. And from Undi 18, we can see another instance, right? You can see from there's a very good friend. She's a very, very inspiring lady, Rashifa. She pushed a campaign called Intern Bukan Buruh Percuma. So what she did, right? She put a placard and walk around UM every single day to push about Intern Bukan Buruh Percuma. And that sparked many online conversations through X, Reddit, Instagram, TikTok. Sparked so many interesting conversations from so many different layers of age. And as a result, right, government heard, government listened, and that thing being pushed to parliament. And now, because of that campaign, because of IPG students campaign, because of Intern Bukan Buruh Percuma campaign, intern student is able to get at least 900 ringgit per month. And this is your rights. We're talking about your rights. You shouldn't be getting 500. You shouldn't be getting zero. You should be getting 900 at least for your internship. During my time, it was like, I don't know, 2021, 2022, I can get up to 1,000 because I push for my rights. And I feel like that's very, very important. And you guys should listen, you guys should apply, you guys should make decision, you guys should push your voice, even though you think that, oh, I'm young, I cannot. No, there's few cases. Undi 18, intern bukan buruh percuma. IPG students, there's so many more that I feel like it's there, and we should take that by example. Let's change youth sentiment to youth impact. I think that's very, very doable. It's just that we need to be more confident. Yeah.
For me, it's like just like you said just now about the intern thing, like intern bukan buruh percuma, because we all know that youth people is not always easy for us also, even though, especially in young age, to go through the adult thing for the first time, and then we just feel like, we just learning to move forward to our adulthood. So it wasn't always easy. So could you share some of the challenges young people face when trying to turn their ideas or into real policy changes, especially in terms of like bullying, like we said just now, or mental health?
Thank you for that question. I think in terms of bullying and mental health, is very, very serious issues, and I feel like more people should be able to really listen and not to just hear and not to just disregard and not to just like putting it as like a side issue, you know. And I feel like we're talking about challenges, right? Just now, I think that it's not that youth don't care. It's just that they are not given enough space. Opportunities. And when I'm talking about space, right, it's not just about social media platform. It's not just about I don't know, like policies like government parliaments. It's not about that kind of space. It's about space of telling their stories. Space of telling their stories without being judged, without being critics. It's not, we need more counselors. I'm talking about real counselors. These people, space meaning that accessibility, like, you know, therapists or doctors or things like this is not very accessible to them. And I feel one counselor is not enough for 400 people, right? One counselor is not enough for 400 people. That's why this space is very, very important. And when we're talking about space as well, we're talking about parents' involvement, we're talking about school involvement, we're talking about government initiatives. And I feel like parents in this case plays a huge, huge role in shaping their kids to be more empathetic, to be more kind, to be able to handle their crisis in a healthy way, not through bullying, not through mental health bullying, not through online hating, not through harassment, more like crisis management lah. And I feel like parents' involvement is very, very important, and I feel like parents should work closely with schools and stuff like that, because this youth, after all, is just a person, a human being that is ready to learn. And I feel like if they are given enough space for them to do that, to tell their stories, to tell their stuff, to have decisions, to have opinions without being critiqued, without being judged, I think that's gonna make a whole lot of impact. Back then, during my day, we had about 400 people in our batch, in each batches, and I feel like one counselor is not enough. And at the end of the day, they don't even go to counselor, and that's where bullying came. You know, that was the peak of everything, and I feel like we should change that. We should help this thing become more accessible and more reachable for this kind of kids, you know, because not everyone is able to have like a private therapist, private teacher, private everything, because after all, these people came from a very low income family, and not, you know, our breach of socio-economic is very, very large. Like, poor people become very, very poor, and rich people become very, very rich. You can see how in Indonesia, how in Thailand happening, like Thailand is happening right now, and I feel like that's a very, very huge risk of not being able to be healthy, if we're not gonna do anything about it. And I think parents' involvement, schools, and government should do a lot more stuff. As I said before, chanting "Kami benci bully" every day is not enough. We need more. We need more camps. We need more parents' involvement with company, go hand on hand. And I feel like, yeah, that's what I think. I have an example. Do you know Ain Husniza? It's a very, very interesting lady, very, very inspiring lady. She spoke up about sexual harassment that happened during school. And I think that sparked so many conversations, that sparked many healthy and unhealthy, and people started to comment about her stuff. And I feel like she received a lot of online hating and harassment. And I feel like she is a very strong woman, that now she has become the person who she is. Very, very inspiring. She went to UN, she went to a lot of stuff. And I feel we can take example from that, where being given enough space to talk about your stuff is very, very important. And because she has that space, now we have seen a lot of young people, young women, also speak up about their stuff. Yeah, I don't want to say harassment. Yeah, but yeah, that's what I think.
I think for the government, like you say, I think for the teachers, I think they also need counselor of their own. And then as for student, like you say, 400 every batch is not enough with just one counselor. But at the same time, I feel like counselor need to take initiative to help the students. And then as for parents, I think, like you say, they should take initiative to help their children, to make their children more empathetic and all that, because we can see that lots of children or students in elementary school, that there are lack of those empathy in their self, as for government, I think like maybe there are some people in the government, they feel like young people is not good enough for them. Like our voices is not matter. Like they feel like we are not mature enough to voice our opinion, to make changes in our country. And I think it's very important, dedication and strong support system for young people to stay engaged in this kind of thing, to make a better, greater country. And now let's continue with social media, which is a very famous topic. So could you share your thoughts on how it affects young people's confidence on their ability to speak?
I think when we're talking about social media, it's very, very not new. Like everyone uses social media. Like everyone talk about something on social media, and I feel like it has become a major catalyst on some changes. And I feel like through social media, our voices can be heard. Through social media, there's enough space for us to actually talk about something, to actually spark online discourse. And from that, government will eventually heard about us, you know. Example, I mentioned about IPG students earlier, right? So back then, IPG students are not given the opportunities to get intern allowances, or their allowances are too little. And when they become like teacher, like student, like practical. So when they become that, they're not allowed to have more like allowances. And I feel like that's very unfair, because after all, they're just a person, a human being, a staff, a worker that out there teaching kids and shaping our kids, but they're not given the same treatment from the government. And is pretty sad, and that's pretty
Unfair.
unfair, right? We're talking about IPG students right here. We're talking about teachers. We're talking about people that shape our kids. And I feel that that's very, very. I am so dissatisfied. So our team, right, make a great online discourse. We make a very, very little campaign pushing why IPG students is not getting fair treatment. And it was out there on X, TikTok, Instagram, Reddit. It's out there. It was on 2022, if I'm not mistaken, or 2023. There's a lot of youth engagement about that. There's a lot of as well as youth involvement. We went to these IPG students that had experience to become like a practicum teacher, and we push it to a very little campaign on social media. And now you can see the result. In Belanjawan 2025, right? Their allowances has increased to 530 from 480 per month. On top of that, they're also able to get at least 5 ringgit every 8 hours. No, 5 ringgit 8 hours per day, but not more than 90 working days. That's the result we can see if we give them the space to talk, and if we involve them in the discussions. That's the results that we want to see. And I feel like we should just give them space. That's the least that we could do right now. Like, give them space, let them talk about it, even though sometimes it doesn't make sense, right? And I feel like in terms of doesn't make sense, it's not just about youth, it's about old people also. Some things that old people say, not old people, I'm so sorry, but something that older generation say can be also not making any sense, right? Like, I don't know, there's so many stuff that I couldn't be able to list now, but you get what I mean. And I feel like, that's the thing.
Like you said, like even in younger generation have their own voices that need to speak out, and then the older generation also have the same thing to do also. Okay, from your experience, how can young people use social media safely while still making the platform a positive change?
I feel like it goes back to the same thing lah. Education, and how, pick your battle. Pick your battle. When it comes to social media, you have to pick your battle. You can't always like say stuff about everything, but you also need to have like some, like what to say and what not to say. If you think that thing's gonna counter back to you, don't say it until you really, really confident in it. Don't say it until you have like enough sources. Don't say it just because you want to say it. Like, in terms of debating, right? You don't debate just like that. You have to have your sources. You have to have your reference, and that's the same thing as social media. And I feel like parents really, really should be intervening in this kind of situations, because you're talking about your kids. If your kid getting like online hating, bullying through social media, it's because you did watch them, you didn't oversee them, see what they post, see what they want to talk about. And I feel like it's more about education at this point. It's more about how you want to say it, and how you have to pick your battles in saying stuff. But if you're not talking about Palestine, then that's another thing. But you get what I mean, right? So pick your battle, and post wisely.
Do some wishes.
Correct.
I think it's on like digital footprint, as the
correct.
younger generation say. I think that's very I think that is very important point. And communities or like adult must support young people in online spaces too.
Correct.
I think like this encouragement will help young people to voice up what they want. Now let's continue with vision for future youth and youth leaders.
Okay, before we wrap up, I do love to hear your vision. What kind of leader do you hope Malaysia's youth will grow into?
when we're talking about youth leadership, right?
Yes.
I hope that this current generation or the upcoming youth will lead by empathy, will lead as a informed citizen, and a fearless citizen. Fearless meaning to be confident in everything they do, in everything they decide, in everything and every opinions that they throw in. Because leaders who speak with purpose, leaders who act um as a real leader will not just throw their opinions but have like a seat in it, like insightful and thoughtful and empathetic thoughts and opinions, not just related to them but people around them, like family, friends, loved ones. And I feel like without youth engagement we will fail as a country. And I feel like putting youth inside your policy is very, very important. And I hope whoever become that person in the upcoming future will lead by example and turn the youth sentiment into youth impact. And I feel like we should give them more spaces, and youth should be able to also teach people on how to be kind and teach people how to not tell other people you can't say this, you can't say this, because after all you can, because look at how Only 18 movement happened, look at how Intern Bukan Guru Percuma campaign happened. And through that I think we're good now. Actually we're good, we're kind of good. I see a lot of social movement from youth groups and how they lead all those protests, all those like could be any protest. It could be like government protests. It could be about social protests, Palestine's. And I feel like there's so many youth out there that is putting their life on the line to tell the world, to tell the government that, oh, we're able to do this. And that's very, very inspiring. And I feel like we're good. We're good. We just need more push. We just need more government interventions. We just need more confidence from people around us, and we're good. Yeah.
Miss Nora, I think that's all from us. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
It's
you.
been incredible, insightful. We gained a lot from you.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much. We're so glad that you could share your experience and reflection with us today.
And I think that's a wrap for our final episode, the Sit With Us, the Sulam session. And this session, we has explored youth leadership, bullying, and growth. It's hard to believe that this session comes to the end.
Yes, and we also have learned that youth voices matters and small action counts and showing up consistently can create changes.
We hope that you find tips, encouragement, and many more from our podcast. We hope you can apply it to your daily life or anything that able to help you.
And also thank you to all our guests and of course to all of you who have followed us to go through this journey together for this session.
And to our listeners, remember your ideas, your voice, and your action matters. Leadership and change start with showing up and voice the things that you want to say, even in the smallest way.
That's all from Sit With Us, this Sulam session. Thank you so much for being part of this journey. And we hope you can sit with us soon. Bye.
Thank you so much.